Thank you for tuning in. I'm Juan Cephas for my Fit PD, and this is Lineup with Fit PD. I've been a police trainer for over 23 years, and I spent almost 30 years as a law enforcement officer. And during that time, I've met amazing people, amazing law enforcement people. And today we have two guests that are amazing. Tony Bulletproof Elliott and his wife, Laura Bulletproof Elliott. And of course, my partner, Ashley Smashley. And we're going to get right into it, guys, because this story we definitely want to hear. Guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you know what? Let's, we want to hear, I don't even know where to start exactly. But, we have husband, peace officer that sustained a gunshot injury to your head. Mm-hmm. And here you are.
Yeah, I've been on your podcast before. It was the last episode, maybe two. But something I forgot to mention was the whole thing with the ring cam footage. So I got shot in the head, and I was on my way to the hospital. I was in the ambulance, and I was just thinking, aside from, I can't feel the left side of my body, I can't move anything, and thinking about my kids and my wife, I was thinking, you know what, someone's going to go tell her that I just got my head blown off. Not that, but someone's going to say, hey, Laura, your husband was shot in the head. And anyone hearing that for the first time is going to think, well, my husband's dead, Right. So if I was thinking, if I could spare her those few seconds before they could say, but wait, he's still alive, then I'm going to try. So we have a ring camera, like 90% of the world does, on our front door. So I'm like, if I can intercept the officers while they're knocking on the door and talk to them, she'll hear my voice over the ring camera and know, or at least hopefully know that, oh, I can hear Anthony's voice, he's alive, So that's essentially what happened. And I've since posted that ring camera footage on Instagram, and it's gotten some good views or reaction. But
I'm actually gonna get you.
Hey assholes, I'm watching you on ring camera.
Are you serious right now, Tony?
Yeah, you guys look good. You're good looking.
What's up, big guy?
How you doing? What's up, dude?
She's gonna freak out when she sees you. Just be prepared.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm here.
How you feeling?
I feel like I got shot in the head.
my old supervisor, one of the other sergeants that was on the SWAT team with me, and then another officer that was on the SWAT team with me showed up to my house, and they rang the doorbell, and I answered it. And by this time I was laying on the trauma table, and they were ripping my clothes off and all that stuff. And one of the doctors tried to take my phone away, and the other doctor, I think probably the one that was in charge, was like, no, let's see what he can do. I think he was trying to just see what my deficits were. Okay. And he was kind of analyzing, like, kill two birds with one stone type deal. And basically got him on ring camera. I'm like, hey, like, got in a conversation with him, and like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I feel like I got shot in the head, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of laughed. And as they're talking to me on ring camera, she opens the door, and then you hear her kind of happy and cheerful. Like, my supervisor was like, hey, do you remember me? You were at the Christmas party. I was at the Christmas party last Christmas. She's like, oh, hi. And then he says, can I come in for a second? And then the mood changed. I don't know. She can speculate more on how you felt when he said, can I come in for a second? Her stomach must have just sank. And then they walked in, it was quiet, and then I didn't hear anything from that point on the ring camera. But I think I was hoping that what I did served its purpose. And I'm sure you can speak to that if that helped at all and how you felt.
Yeah, it did, for sure. I mean, it was very confusing because I saw I didn't know they were officers at first, but then when I realized they're officers and you were talking to them, I was like, this is weird. And literally the first thought was like, did Anthony forget something really important at the house?
Happens all the time. Babe, I forgot my gun at home.
That he really needs.
Can you drive it? Wait, don't drive my gun here.
So, I mean, if I didn't hear your voice and I saw 3 officers show up in the middle of the night, like, you know what that means. So that was very helpful. But yeah, as soon as they said, can I come in? I said, oh boy. I remember thinking, this is about something.
This is serious.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, I hear you describing you laying on a gurney or the OR or something, right?
Yeah.
That's what I envision. I get the feeling that if that one doctor didn't intervene, that you were still not going to allow anyone to take that phone from you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, the rules and policies at that point in time weren't gonna apply to me. Not to take a line from the movie Good Will Hunting, but yeah, I was gonna complete that task regardless. And it was such an interesting concept being on that trauma table, because I used to work in that area, which is our northern division. And I've seen a million people on that trauma table. People that have been on their worst day, been in a traffic accident, shot, stabbed, whatever you want to call it. And I'd just be the guy sitting there waiting for the nurse to, I'm like, hey, what's the injuries for my report? And you can't help thinking, you see that a million times, and you fall into the OODA loop of it just being a number or another call. And when I was laying there, I was just hoping, like, I just hope these people don't treat me like another number. Like, I'm a human being. Like, I have kids and a wife. Like, just please do a good job, and I hope I'm not another number. And being the one laying on that trauma table was such a weird contrast to what I'm used to, seeing other people lay there. And it was funny, like they're sitting there, and you got a couple of my officers there that I used to work with and that work for me, and their supervisors laying on the table, and they're cutting my clothes off, and they're about to cut my pants off. I'm like, wait, don't look, they're gonna see their supervisor what he's packing, and that's what I was thinking at the time, like, oh, Sarge is, wow. But I was hoping that wasn't gonna happen, and everyone, I forgot what happened with that. I was half brain dead, but those were the thoughts going through my mind. My wife, kids, and then, them cutting off my pants in front of everybody. But yeah, it was a surreal situation, and I'm glad I was able to get on the ring camera and notify her. And from there, everything got kind of hazy. I was conscious, but from what I remember before surgery and what took place after surgery, it was all kind of hazy. But she showed up shortly after. My supervisor drove her lights and sirens to the hospital, and when she arrived, and I don't mean to put words in her mouth, it was like drinking through a fire hose. Like, hey, I'm Lieutenant this, I'm Captain this, I'm whatever this, like whatever you need. And from there, she just hit the ground running, and it was probably chaos for you.
Just a little bit.
Just a little chaos.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But I don't know if you can speculate on that at all. And who you met?
It's just you're overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. It was good to be overwhelmed, but there's still people. I just feel horrible because I know there's people that were there that day that like gave me a card and that told me their name and what they do, and I probably couldn't even tell you because I had so many people. Good problem to have. But yeah, it was very overwhelming, but it was good because I felt supported. It was before family came in to town because we don't have family around us. So, and then my friends were all jumping in to help with the kids before my family got there. So none of them were there. But I do remember seeing George. I still remember him when I walked up to the hospital, just seeing that one familiar face and just like breaking down and feeling comfort with that. But
yeah, George was an old partner of mine, and him and his wife, and they've been a godsend during this whole process. Just being there and being the familiar face, and like when I got transported to Colorado, just helping out with all the bags in the airport and driving us around and just being there for me, like huge help, and just other officers in general. And they created an overtime shift for my little security detail. The SWAT team did. And not to fast forward over too much stuff, but just the community outreach and outpour when I was up in the ICU, it was miraculous. And a lot of people, you know, came to the table that we didn't know were out there, and it was a great
I
situation.
mean, you know, you being the wife, you see like all this horrible stuff in the media coming out about police officers, and it weighs on you, and you're just like, oh, like you don't know like the ins and outs of what's going on. You think about your husband, who's like a fantastic person, and there's all this negative stuff being said about them, and like he just brushes it off, but it like really holds deep in my heart. And I just remember being scared and thinking like this is going to get turned around on him somehow. But I was surprised at the community that's out there that supports police officers that I had no idea existed. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not talking, and this is outside of the department.
Correct.
There is a lot of people that are huge supporters. It's like the silent majority a little bit. You know, I went into this thinking we're kind of in it like all alone, like we have the department, but like that's it. And it was just like the opposite case. There was like so much support out there. So even if you don't hear about it or it's not like all over the media, just like know that there's people that do support what you guys do.
And there's a family that supported us. I'm not going to say his name and keep it private, but it rhymes with Joman. I'm trying to find his number. I can't find his number. He gave it to me at a golf outing, and I've been trying to get back in touch with him ever since to kind of connect and show him my family and stuff. And if you see this, please text me because I think you have my number. I'm trying to get a hold of you. But sorry to segue into that unrelated thing, but yeah.
No, but it was very surprising. I was surprised at how much support people. Is that bad? Like that's like bad that I'm tainted like that. I feel like, you know.
Well, you only hear the stuff I come home and tell you, like the bad stuff, like hey,
And
this
the
happened
media.
to me today. And the media, and it's
yeah.
mainstream.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see that there are people that actually support the police.
It's the silent majority.
Yeah.
The silent majority, no doubt.
It's a huge thing.
I think it's amazing, and I want to highlight it again, that the way this whole interaction begins, and I don't mean, the incident. Mm-hmm. I mean, you notifying your wife that you're okay. I think absent that technology, the Ring camera, mm-hmm. it's a completely different way that the police will interact with you, the 3 cops that show up to your house. I think it's amazing that you were so concerned about your family. Number one priority, that you had to call and ensure that your wife heard you. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it comes from a place of love, and it comes from a place of she's gonna kill me if I'm not dead for what I did. So if I could buffer that situation, I'm going to by all means. But yeah, I'm glad I had that technology at my disposal because that helped a lot. Also for me, and especially I think for you. So, but that was like it was crunch time. Once that happened, she had our two boys sleeping upstairs, and it's like who do I get to come watch the kids and when they wake up in the middle of the night because kids don't sleep, like who's going to be there to greet them and what are they going to tell them, like why mommy isn't here, and that was just juggling that, and you juggling that with a sober mind amidst getting that information was very impressive, and I don't think I could have did something like that as good as you did.
Oh, well, thank you. You should remember that.
I forget sometimes.
So this is not the first time you hear him say that?
No, it's not. It's not.
But
But you can always say it more.
I know. There's sometimes you forget, and I don't know if you want to talk about this, when something significant like an injury happens. I touched on it before. It didn't affect me as much as it affected her, and I failed to realize that, time and time again. It wasn't until like really far into this recovery journey that I realized she was like significantly more affected than I was. Because for me, it was just getting over an injury, and it's just I wish I would have realized that sooner. And that's why I think her getting her voice out, and maybe if other people see this, that getting an injury, it's not all about you, which it's important to have the resources and recover, but it's just as much, if not more, about the person that has to watch you go through it and keep the house a home for the kids while you're half brain dead and trying to work your way back up to a normal person. It's like a lot falls on her shoulders or the significant other's shoulders, and I wish I realized that sooner. That was a big learning thing from all this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Had you realized that sooner, what would you do different?
just the reassurance that I see what she's going through. Because, again, I was in a wheelchair and I was going through a lot. There wasn't a lot I could do. And she obviously knew and felt that. She was like, well, it's literally up to me now to handle business with the house, with everything normal that happens in life. Because the world doesn't stop turning, and I didn't expect it to. And as much as we would have liked it to stop and cater to us, the world doesn't do that. So more like appreciation and less, I want to get better and go right back to work and freaking her out, even though I did that. But I did a lot of fighting, and rightfully so. Just more appreciation. As men, or we try to just fix things, like I'll do this better, I'll do this better. It's a lot of that could be avoided by just appreciating and just understanding, and less psychological trauma, by just, I guess, comforting and appreciating the hard work and chaos she's going through on a daily basis. I think I would have done more of that earlier on instead of being so effing selfish with my needs and what I want.
How dare you?
What do you think about that, Laura?
I think I did good training. Good job, Laura. No. I mean, it's tough because, like, you obviously have to think about yourself during that time. But it is, I do like that takeaway, just reminding people, like, when you're going through it, people that you love are also going through it. So having that compassion is always important. And it's just, you know, I will go back to this with police officers. It's a lot of them can compartmentalize. That's why they can do the job. Same thing with like nurses and mostly all first responders. And for someone who doesn't do that, I like think about things, I reflect on things, and things hit my heart a little bit harder, and I can't brush things off as much. It's an interesting dynamic as a husband and wife, like with his job. So he's totally fine. And then I'm over here, like, not struggling, but, like, you know, grieving appropriately and, like, thinking through things. And he's just going about, like, nothing's ever happened, which is great in one aspect, like acting like everything's fine and nothing's ever happened. But then I have to be like, well, wait a second. And I'm like, Anthony, can you like look at some of these photos and videos a year ago? And we had like a little year celebration for him, and I like kind of made him sit down and like kind of look through everything. I'm like, do you remember when like I had to feed you the soup in bed? Do you remember when you like couldn't use a fork? Like, do you know what I was thinking when that was happening? When I didn't know if you were going to be able to pee on your own, like I didn't know if you could feed yourself. I was thinking about, I have 2 kids and I have a husband, and I'm going to do what I need to do to make this work. And then I'm calling our landlord, seeing if we can retrofit the house for the wheelchair. And I'm like a planner and a long-term thinker, so I'm also thinking, okay, like the house isn't situated great, we're going to have to change this and that. And that's all the stuff that I was going through. And you can chime in. I don't think you thought
No, and
any of
the
that.
The pee thing, that was a good day when I could finally pee on my own. When they got the catheter out, and they're like, hey, we're going to take the catheter out for the 500th time, which doesn't feel super good. But she's like, if you don't pee in 10 minutes, you have to put that catheter in. It's a good chance you're going to have a colostomy bag for a while, if not ever. So it's a very stressful time. You're sitting there and you're trying to motivate yourself to pee, and not something you normally think about. But once I did pee, it was great. I'm glad I got that out of the way, the whole pee thing. But no, there'd be times where we'd be having an argument, or I'd be talking about something I want to do, or just navigating through this process. And she's like, can you just stop and just like remember that you got your head blown off like a year ago? And we're all still kind of suffering through it. And, every time we watch a movie where like a cop gets shot, like even small things, like she'd be affected by it, or I'd walk into the garage where our laundry machine is, and sometimes I'd find her doing laundry, and she'd, be having a hard time or crying or something. And that was like a year later, like things are still super fresh. They're still super fresh now. There's still things that trigger you.
Yeah.
And
it's in those like quiet moments. Like when with the kids, it's nice because you're always busy and you're always busy. But like in those quiet moments, like sometimes you just take a minute and you like think about things, and he doesn't do that. He just doesn't operate, which is a blessing, right? It's a blessing as a police officer when you can operate like that, because mentally you're better. I mean, there's a lot of people, who go through stuff like this, and it's just crippling, and it's just so hard. And I do think that's a whole nother topic, is like the health of police officers, and why isn't that talked about more? Why is all of this media stuff all about like everything, just clickbait stuff? And yeah, there's issues. Of course there's issues. There's issues in everything. But there is this piece of the community who might not have a mental, their brain might not work like Anthony's does, where he can just turn it off. And you're human, and you care about other humans, and you're going through this job, and you're seeing some of the worst things. And there's a lot of police officers that really suffer from that. And so it's a blessing that he operates like that. But when you go through like a trauma like this, for me, someone who doesn't, it's like, wait a second, you need to understand like what is going on over here.
Yeah, that was probably one of the more frequent arguments we've had, was things generated from that topic right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a journey with the trauma.
So where does the relationship between the two of you evolve now, post incident?
So we got divorced right away. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was definitely, it did evolve. I don't know, maybe not. I just think we had a lot of arguments because I wanted to go back to work super bad. And she's like, hell no. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you go back to the field? She's like, you can go back to work, but you don't have to go back to patrol. Like, get over yourself. You don't need to go back and prove anything, which I totally understand. But for some reason, I just couldn't get it out of my system. That was like closure. I really wanted to go back. And that was like my way of beating this and going back. And I still have a lot of gas left in the tank, as far as my career goes. But then I also preach, the most important thing in life is family. And then she calls me out on that. She's like, you say, you just want to spend more time with your kids and me, but then you go back into the fire and you put yourself in jeopardy of losing that again. And it's a give and take, and there's a pull in each direction. And I do now take for granted, or I don't take for granted the time I have with my beautiful wife and kids. But I did go back, and I am back in the field, and there's that pull in that direction. So there's a deep, like right now, her being okay with me doing that, even though she's not okay with it, she's just kind of suffering in silence on that platform, letting me do this, which is a huge amount of support and something I'm very appreciative for. And
I'm gonna clip this and just like have it on replay when I need to show you.
That's fine. I give you consent. But I mean, as far as our relationship goes, we've been together forever. So I feel like we've been through a lot, and this is just I hate to say another bump. It was a big bump in the road, but we've been through a lot. And I feel like we're hard as nails. I'm just aware that there is a huge mountain of support going on in silence when I leave for work every night. And it wasn't when I went back to work, it's like, hey, you're going to go back to day shift. You can have weekends off. Like, we'll cater to you a little bit. I was like, no, hey, you want to come back? Like, night shift, same squad, you're going back. And she was like, wow, great. That's great for my mental psyche.
I have like my phone's not on silent anymore. My watch is connected to my phone at night, so it wakes me up. So, like, it's just a whole thing.
Which I don't understand because I can't just go, hey, babe, I got shot in the head.
No, but at least it would ring and wake me up.
Well, I'm not going to call you.
I know. It's like, it's a whole thing. But I will say, like, yeah, we've been together forever, and you do just like kind of go back to the normal stuff. So it's kind of what I was saying before is you would think like you would, I mean, things are different, but you get back to your day to day and you get back to your normal stuff and you just live your life normal. And then there are some of those moments which we're very blessed to be able to like be like, oh, remember what happened? And then you have that moment of, okay, I just gotta, like, that's not important. Let's just focus on the things that are important. But it's hard because you just get back to your day to day. So for our relationship, I think when you go through something really hard, you obviously grow from it. And if you have a good, strong relationship, you're gonna be able to get through the big stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For me, surprisingly, it's like the small stuff that you argue about. You know, it's all the stupid small stuff. When something big happens, you get through it together.
If we sorry to cut you off, if we were on the rocks when this happened, who knows what would have happened with our relationship? But we were so strong before, and that's how we recovered so well, is because we just fell into each other. You know, when this happens to a lot of people, they butt heads, and you know, there was something else lingering in the background in the relationship before it happened, but not us. We were pretty good, and it wasn't easy by any means. But that's why having a strong relationship before this crap happens is so important. It's a necessity. So, yeah.
So the foundation needs to be there.
Yeah, it can't be shaky. It's got to be strong. Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. And a lot of people jump ship in a lot of these relationships, I feel like, these days. And I sound like an old man. No, these kids stay married anymore. But, you know, we've been together forever, and we've worked on a relationship, and it has not been a level of homeostasis. It's been an up and down roller coaster for years, but we've worked through it. And when you have something really important that you don't want to let go of, you work hard through thick and thin. And, you know, marriage vows are vows for a reason. And it's just such a powerful thing when you have somebody that's going to support you on your worst day, that it's, you know, I wouldn't have it any other way, you know. And I was very blessed to have her. You know, I call her the general at home, because, you know, when something like this happens, I can count on her to take care of business, you know, and she did 100%. And if I would have had someone else, like, I may have not have recovered. And, you know, when I was brain dead in the hospital, there's doctors that would come in and say, hey, we're going to do this physical therapy. We're going to try and get you into this program. She was like, no, I heard about this awesome place in Colorado. And she would navigate through that for me and get the right people to talk to me. And I wasn't in a place to do that. And since I had her, like, who knows, my recovery might have been not as fruitful what it was if I didn't have her by my side, you know. So there's that aspect of it, which I'm very fortunate of. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell you that you going back to work has benefited a lot of your squad. I've spoken to a couple of your squad members, and they aspire to be like you. Oh. They have mentioned that, you know, you're always sharing something about training, and you're always talking about training. You're always lessons learned. You're always trying to teach, mm-hmm. so that people don't make mistakes, and people are better prepared when they go out in the field. Yeah. So your department is fortunate that you're back.
Yeah, I'm happy they let me back. I'm surprised there wasn't more hurdles to get over to get back. It was more, hey, does the doctor say you're okay? And I'm like, yep. And then I came back and I had to do a shoot and a little DTAC thing, and then I was good to go. And I mean, there's a couple more things, but no, I think training is very important. And the particular area we were in, we didn't get a lot of exposure to stuff, so I thought it was very advantageous for us to do training and do scenario stuff just on our own, because one, it keeps my skills sharp, it keeps their skills sharp. And oddly enough, some of the stuff I was teaching them was the exact same scenario of what occurred that night. So I remember I was talking to him like, hey, there's an armed barricaded suspect. He comes out, shoots me, kills me. I'm like, what do you guys do? It was like questions like that.
Okay.
And oddly enough, that's exactly what happened. And the way they performed that night, it's unfortunate what they had to do, but they performed very well. And I'm very happy that we did have that training, because it was like, perfect. It was fresh in their mind, So training's very important. Even if you're in a division where you get lots of stuff, it's important to train on other things that you don't get exposure to. But yeah, training, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's next? What's next for the Bulletproof family?
Well, I'm going to be more conscious of not being a jackass and making it all about me, and realizing she's still going through a lot, and she probably will for a long time. We both want to get into the public speaking sector and really, because like I said before, we can cater this message. There's so many lessons to learn from this, as far as, one, how to be resilient, two, how to make light of things, three, the family aspect of it and how trauma is contagious, and how a supportive wife or significant other can really change the game, and how I could have done different things to make for a more healthier journey in this recovery with my wife and my family. And even we can get into tactics. Like, there's so many different ways we can take this and cater this. I want to share that with essentially the same community you're sharing it to, but also, it doesn't have to be just in law enforcement. Anybody can go through something like this, and it's just bouncing back in a healthy way. And also talking about how you're not going to be the same person you were before, and that's okay. It's almost becoming a different person, and how you can elevate that and maximize who you are. I mean, I think our Chief Scott Wall at San Diego PD is that command training. I hate to take this from him, but we don't have all the resources we need at this time, but maximizing the resources we do have is advantageous, And I thought he said that, and I was like, that was pretty powerful for me. And I'm not trying to be a suck up or a brown nose. I just thought that was pretty cool. I wrote it in my diary that day. Chief said this awesome thing. But I think getting into the public speaking sphere,
Yeah.
to work on stuff like that is what we want to do. And
Well, and I also think it's really important. I kind of said this on the other podcast, where a lot of people are going through something, and you think about how certain people can make it out, and they get out of it even better. And if we can turn this into something where we can support those people, and I think it's important for the two sides, because his side is a very different story than my side, and figuring out how to kind of share that. Like, I almost should speak to all the husbands, and you should almost speak to all the wives.
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? Like,
That's a good point.
it's really important to see the other side. And he had mentioned it before when he was on industrial leave, working on his recovery. He was home all the time. And so he got a little lens into like the stay-at-home parent.
it sucks. It's hard. It's really hard.
Which is really hard, and it's mentally, hard and stressful, but the best thing in the whole world. But just to have him now, the fact that he had that time, and now he like understands when he comes home, he like knows if I had a bad day, he kind of gets it a little bit more. So being able to share two sides of a story, I think is really important, and sometimes you don't get that a lot. And especially with, when I saw families at Craig when we were there, you think about it, you're like, the world doesn't stop. People are going through something all the time, big or small, but there is a lot of people going through big things. Like, I remember leaving the hospital, putting the kids down, stopping at the gas station because he was so concerned about giving the officers Gatorade, and he wanted chocolate milk for some reason. Yeah. And I remember going to the Gatorade and like thinking, okay, I'm getting this stuff, I'm checking out, I'm looking at like the people in there, I'm looking at the cashier, and I'm thinking like, they have no idea my husband just got shot in the head and he's just laying in the hospital right now. And so I think if we can talk to people and share our story and inspire them or give any kind of advice on how to almost prepare for those moments, and you prepare for those moments by becoming your best self now, so that when something hard happens, you can get through it. He preaches that a lot, and it's what we lived in our reality. And I think that's just an important message to kind of get out there.
Yeah, if you could achieve the same outcomes we have with how we look at things and deal with things now without having to go through the trauma, I mean, that's the win-win right there. If we could teach this so they can practice it in their relationship or their home life, you're only going to be that much healthier and better off, I think.
Yeah, and getting rid of stigma. There's a lot of stigma too,
Yeah.
just with police officers and that whole category. So I think it's good to get real and just, explain to people, get the word out, and kind of shed a little light on what it's like even to be in the situation where you have a police officer and then there's also loved ones at home, and that whole dynamic. And that's something a lot of people don't think about. And when you see or hear things being said about, their job, it hurts and it's really hard. And so shed a little light on what is it actually like, and what is it actually like for the family. And I think that's an important message to get out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It needs to get out.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that suffer silently,
Yes.
and your story will help inspire a lot of people. It'll help educate a lot of people. It'll help people get over some of the obstacles and adversities that they're encountering right now, this moment. And, I want to say thank you for being here, because your story will be shared.
Yeah.
And I hope you continue to share it with everyone that you encounter.
Yeah, we're trying to share it as much as we can. We have my wife built a website for me. It's bulletprooftony.com, right? She knows more than I do about everything. Yeah, we're trying to reach out that way. So if you're interested in having me speak or coming, I can cater to whatever you're looking for. Just visit the website and contact us for more information.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the apparel.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
We'll get on
she's
it.
good on the brand.
Just
We'll
let me
get on
know.
it.
Let me know.
Us and ChatGPT will get back to you.
Ashley?
Just before we're done, what's some advice as a couple you'd give other first responder couples?
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
That's where do I start? You can go first. Go ahead.
Know that your job isn't their job. So your job, and then coming home from your job, and then thinking it's hard to have to pick up and do the family routine and all the night. It's not as hard as being at home with the kids and maintaining the house all day. I know that in contrast because I experienced both sides. So not to say that you have to do more or come home and be Superman or Superwoman, but just understanding that someone maintaining the house all day and being inside that house all day and entertaining kids and being creative, it's very hard, and it drains you, especially if you want to do it right, like we had mentioned before. And just being emotionally supportive. You don't have to come home and fix a bunch of stuff, but just understanding that the wife or husband who's not in this career is at home sleeping at night thinking about you and your safety, and then also taking care of everything else at the house, is going through a lot, and they're really supporting you, and you wouldn't be as elevated as you are without them. So just having that appreciation and just showing it more often is important.
And I think for the loved one, if you're someone that can handle it, go on a ride along if you can. Understanding and seeing how things actually work and the intricacies of everything was really helpful. And also just community. Just know that there is a community behind you. It's amazing how the police officer community comes together when you need them. and you can't worry about everything because it's all out of your control. It completely is. It doesn't matter what area they're working in. It doesn't matter what their title is, how much they're on the road. It's all out of your control, and you can't worry about it all the time. And be prepared, though. Get your stuff in order. We didn't have our stuff in order. We didn't have our life insurance policy,
trust,
our will, our trust.
We do now.
We sure do. But just be prepared for the worst, but don't worry about it every day. It's out of your control. And if you're someone that can, go on a ride along and try to understand how it works.
Oh, and can I do a shout out to my mom? So if you guys could get a mom like mine, I highly recommend it. When I got injured and we went to Colorado, she was there with us in the hotel with us, and my nickname for her is the Big Guns. So when she comes in, like, helps with the kids, and if I could describe her, it's like if you had a bouncy ball and you chucked it in a small room and shut the door, that's her. She has so much energy. And she's been a godsend for us during this process. And she's at home with the kids right now. It's the only way we can come do this podcast. And she lives in Florida. So to my mom, thank you so much for this, helping my wife heal me back to health. And it hasn't gone unseen. And we wouldn't be able to do it without her.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing is the support system. Make sure you have a support system too. Whether it's family or your community somehow, but build that ahead of time and have that there, because when something happens and shit hits the fan, then you have that extra support that honestly, it makes a difference when you're going through something like this. So build your support system.
And stop drinking.
Brain health. We're really into brain health now. We really are.
Yeah,
It's
we're
important.
big water people now.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Once again, I want to thank you for being here. Your story is amazing. It just goes to show that, we forget that cops and their families are human too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
Well
I want to
said.
thank you for being here.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
God bless you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Good job, everybody.